Get in! Welcome to another Toon Network video. I'm Adam and we've just beaten Stoke 2-1 at home. We've got 9 points out of the first 5 games. We're up into the top 6 of the Premier League guaranteed now, going into next weekend's fixtures. But what a performance. I think, I mean, let's start in the first half, I guess. I mean, I'm absolutely, I'm exhausted and I'm hoarse from shouting, but, and what a nervy game that was. It was so tense towards the end, but I honestly thought, it was another defensively disciplined Rafa Benitez performance. I thought we for the first 10 minutes of the first half, I thought Stoke controlled it well. We didn't really get into them as much as I would have hoped in the first 10 minutes. We didn't really get hold of the ball. But after that, we really came into our own. And I think the amount of attacking chances we created and the moves we put together, I think they blew Stoke away, to be honest. I think they struggled to cope. They had some big guys at the back like Zuma and Martin Zindi and Wimmer. But you know, Joselu was winning a lot of headers in the final third. Perez ran his heart out once again, and Marino was, you know, was composed in the centre as well. But the likes of Richie and Atsu, they're such a threat and such a direct threat, and it was great to see Mbemba back. He was on the overlap a bit. Yedlin certainly was, and Yedlin seemed to be a real thorn in the side of Eric Peters, I think it was, because it just gives him another option. His pace and his incision, the runs he makes, and his directness, it really caused them problems. Obviously, the first goal came from a lovely whipped-in ball from Matt Ritchie. Atsu following in at the back post to take it past Jack Butland. I thought it was fully deserved. We really did look fantastic in the final third, and there's been so many games where in recent years in the Premier League where we've run out of ideas, we don't know how we're going to unlock a defence, but going into this second half, I mean going into half time, sorry, to be honest, it was sort of frustrating that we weren't 2-0 up. Joselu had 2 excellent chances to score against his former team, and he didn't take them. Look, I'm not going to sit here and vilify Joselu. He's still a new signing. He's still settling in. He got himself into the position to miss those chances, if you will. Obviously, he'll have had a lot going on, given that he had a lot to prove today against Mark Hughes, who always said that he didn't trust him. Maybe Mark Hughes will feel a bit vindicated after today, but I don't want to point fingers at Joselu, because I think his all-round game, I think he did exactly what Rafa Benitez would have wanted him to do, and he was winning headers. And again, the way him and Perez link up together, they're so important for the shape, for the entire shape of the team, and that's looking defensively as well. So he's a handful, and I think he gives us the physicality that I guess Gale struggled to bring when he came on. And I think had Mitrovic not been suspended, I think we would have seen Mitrovic come on instead of Gale in that situation against that team. But the first goal was excellent. We really should have put them to bed. I think we had another chance in about 26 minutes as well. Butland did pretty well, in fairness. The only glimmer of threat that they showed in the first half was that Shaqiri, again, cuts in on his left every single time, but there's very little he can do about it. But he had that really long looping cross shot that Elliott did really well to palm, not only past the post but away from the waiting Stoke player who was poaching to look for a tap in. But apart from that, I thought Newcastle were largely in control and dominated that first half. But we knew that going in at 1-0, we probably weren't going to be playing in the same way coming back, and you know, Stoke would be invigorated in the second half, and they were. And it was tricky. The first 13 seconds though, 15 seconds, however long it was, Atsu broke on the left, and then there was a crossover to Joselu, who had is probably his 3rd clear-cut chance of the game. Controlled it beautifully, And when he went to try and stroke it past Butland, he skied it. And I think from that point he was thinking, it's not my afternoon. And I think some of the crowd were thinking, is it going to be one of those games where we get punished for not finishing chances, for not having the conviction? And ultimately that nearly was the case. Shaqiri again, as Stoke had applied a lot more pressure in the second half and retained a lot more possession as well. It was Shaqiri cutting in on his left, and I must say, yeah, we shouldn't be allowing him to cut in on his left, and we know what he's going to do every time, but he's a guy who has got bags of talent when he wants to play, and it looked like he was motivated for the game today. And his goal was very good. I couldn't help but be impressed by it. It was right tucked in the corner past Elliott, and he did manage to beat about 3 Newcastle players. You could argue that we really shouldn't be conceding from there, but you know, you see some of the goals that Shaqiri's been capable of in the past, and his effort in the first half. He's got that in his locker, and it was kind of typical Newcastle, wasn't it? It was a lot of chances missed. They get their first shot on target in the second half, and it goes in, for example. So, but what we saw in the Swansea game away was a lot of character. When things seemed to be going against us, possession was against us, but we battled through and we showed character and we showed integrity, and just a really positive mentality, something that Stoke had been lacking on the road since the start of last season. So basically the last 21 away games before today, they'd only won 4 of those, and then I think they'd drawn 6, so they'd lost 11 out of 21 of their previous away games going into this game, which is why in my pre-match review, I thought that we'd come out on top slightly, but I did call that we'd come out on top by, I think I called 1-0, so it was 2-1. But yes, the straight away after the Stoke goal, we had a goal disallowed, and I think that kind of got the crowd up. I think it instilled a bit more confidence into our side as well. And I think it also gave us belief, but I think it also put Stoke on the back foot and thought, oh God, yeah, I remember they've had quite a lot of chances. Another one could be around the corner. And Atsu got played through. Perez was on the right hand side, and he managed to play Atsu through, and he was bearing down on goal, and there was a bundling coming together. It was difficult from where I was sitting in the stand whether I thought he should have pulled the trigger a bit earlier. Butland came out very quickly, as he did for the chance for Hosselu in the first half. But I thought Atsu should have probably had a shot a bit sooner. And what ended up happening was the keeper came together with him and the 2 defenders. And I guess the referee, unless he's absolutely sure, can't give a penalty. He just cannot. Replays that I haven't seen yet might show otherwise, but who knows. So I noticed that shortly after that, about 5 minutes later, we won a corner, and Lascelles was having a chat with the referee, and he was obviously complaining about the Atsu being bundled over in the penalty box. And I ended up shouting to Jamal Lascelles. I was like, Lascelles, focus. Concentrate on the game now. There's no point in chatting to the referee about something that happened 5 minutes ago. It's not going to change. Focus on what's happening now. We've got a corner. So I was shouting, focus, Jamal, focus. And then obviously, straight away the ball was whipped in. Who gets on the end of the header? Once again, second time in a week. Jamal Lascelles in off the bar. What a headed goal. Power header. He's done it. He's done it again. He's done it again, and so I'm taking partial credit for that, because I told him to focus after he was having some sort of petulant stamp with the referee when he clearly didn't get the explanation for the Atsu incident that he wanted. But I thought we fully deserved that 2-1 at that point, although we knew we were in for a very nervy sort of final 15-20 minutes in it, and it was nervy. It really was. Stoke brought Peter Crouch on, who was been a bit of a bogey player for us before, but it for whatever reason didn't happen for them. They had a header that just went past the post, which I thought was in. They had Chopwo Moting, who had a really good. We scored a brace against Man United last week. He had a really good game last week. Was a bit tricky in times. He was maybe largely quiet. It was outshadowed by Shaqiri largely, who seemed to be carrying their team for the most part. But he skied over as well from close range, which I thought could have gone in as well. So Elliott was kept busy, definitely, and there was one sort of close off the line as well. So they, were, they certainly had their chances in the second half, and actually, on reflection and looking at the stats as well, I think in total we had 14 shots on target, 14 shots and 3 on target, and they had 13 shots with 4 on target. So actually, and they had the lion's share of possession, which isn't a massive surprise given how Rafa's set this team up this year to play on the counter-attack, even though we were at home. But I thought the stats were maybe slightly deceptive, because I thought we were very comfortably deserved the extra goal, but actually it almost came down to who missed the fewest chances, because yeah, there was a lot of blocked and off target shots from both sides today. But it was a really positive performance. I thought the crowd was really good in the second half as well, really got behind the team. The goal, our first, obviously the opening goal, really helped. Really pleased to see Yedlin back in there. I thought Mbemba was solid. Lascelles and Clark were canny. I think it was just an all-round pretty good performance. I thought Perez really gave us the work rate today. I thought he was really good. Atsu, was really pleased to see him back in the starting 11, and I think he justified his selection. Although, yeah, should have pulled the trigger a bit early on that chance. But yeah, good to see Marino keep his place in the side. But then Shelvey came on as well, obviously. Gale came on, I think, which gives a bit of an outlet, a different kind of outlet once Joselu went off, because we were able to maybe play balls into spaces which he could run onto. And yeah, he's a physical mismatch against the likes of Kurt Zuma and Bruno Martins Indy, but he showed a couple of really nice touches from high, and yeah, we just did enough. We just did enough today, and a massive 3 points. We've got 9 points. As I'm recording, we're 4th, but we've got Spurs to play and Arsenal to play as well. So we're guaranteed 6th, whatever happens, and it's fantastic. It's great to see Rafa back in the dugout as well, and the sun was shining by the end of quite a topsy-turvy day weather-wise, but huge. I think under our predecessors, the former managers, that's a 2-2 all day. We would have crumbled. We wouldn't have been mentally resilient. But this question of this defensive discipline that Rafa Benitez has drilled into his players, that you saw remotely in his preparations up to the Swansea game and during the Swansea game and today. Really tough challenge. Stoke have some good attacking players, but I thought we'd just have enough to nullify them, and thankfully I was proved right. So it's a great day. I'll sort of leave you with that, but get your comments down below if you're watching on YouTube, or give us a rating on iTunes or SoundCloud as well, and get comments in on SoundCloud if you're listening there. But I'm really pleased with that. It's fantastic to be able to report on yet another victory, and 3 wins on the spin. We'll be going into the Brighton game with all the confidence in the world. Again, that's going to be a really tough game, but we're not too bad on the road under Rafa Benitez. Yes, we've been playing in the Championship, but guess what? Brighton were there last year as well, so we'll be going into the next game with as much confidence as we came into this game with a bit more belief. Lejeune might be back. Injury problems are receding. We're getting, we've got a really strong bench these days, which gives us options. So I'm really delighted with a win. It's a fantastic feeling to be right up the top. And as I tweeted just before, with our 9 points so far, we are already over a third of the way to Sunderland's total points from last season in the Premier League when they got relegated with 24 points. So we're doing all right. Obviously, I think we're going to be aiming a little higher. We'll have slightly bigger ambitions, but Rafa Benitez, the difference again. It shows on the pitch. It's like, I was chatting to my friend Sean on the way back, and we were chatting about the job that Perez does, and he frustrates me a lot because he's obviously the number 10. I don't think he's a natural number 10 in the traditional sense. Are his goals enough, given that we play one up front, or his assists enough? Maybe not. But actually, you see today, in a game like today, tactically, he forms a function as part of a system, as does Joselu. Joselu didn't finish the chances that he had today, but he will the next game or the game after. He will, because he's getting the right positions, but he plays a part. We could aim for Joselu's head. He got flick-ons. His link-up plays well on the floor. And I was chatting with Sean, and it was almost like in a traditional team formation, you have a defensive midfielder sitting in front of the back four with your more creative players further forward behind the strikers. But what Rafa Benitez seems to have done with the likes of Marino and Shelvey playing behind Perez is almost, he's kind of turned into almost like the new Gouffran. and I don't mean that in a negative way, but in terms of his defensive work in the final third, he chases and harries defenders and gives them no time on the ball at all. So we're defending from the front, and because Joselu is a bit more mobile, but Perez will run himself into the ground, and it's almost like having a defensive midfielder ahead of the creative midfielders behind, because we've got now deep-lying playmakers in Marino and Shelvey. So actually, our formation is spun around. It's almost like we've got a defensive midfielder in Perez ahead of the creators. So in terms of the wider formation, I can absolutely see Rafa Benitez's influence there and his thinking. Obviously, personally, I prefer to, I like to see good attacking teams. I like to see if we're creating from the wings and we're creating certainly from corners. We look really, really dangerous as well. Richie's deliveries from free kicks and corners were largely very dangerous. But I think I'd like to see a number 10 who can score. I really do. I keep banging this drum. I mean, do you shove Shelvey behind the front, behind the front man, but then you wouldn't get the work rate of chasing down as much as you would with Perez. So it's difficult. But I'll give Perez his props today. You can tell that he did exactly what he needed to do and was asked of him tactically from Rafa Benitez today. Absolutely, and Joselu as well, despite his misses. But anyway, fantastic result. Another Premier League win for Newcastle United. 2-1 against Stoke, who have been terrible on the road. They've won now, well, that's now 4 wins out of the last 22 on the road for Mark Hughes, who's conversely seems to have instilled some sort of negative mentality for his team on the road, whereas Rafa Benitez is achieving opposite results for his team. So make of that what you will. Anyway, I'll stop talking now. I've been rambling on. I've been Adam of the Toon Network. Thanks very much for watching this Stoke City match report. Newcastle 2, Stoke 1. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes and SoundCloud. We're on Twitter and Facebook as well. Share with all your friends if you think they'll like the content. Really keen to hear what people think. And we'll see you next time. We'll have a look at what happens for the Brighton game. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Come on, how are the lads? Bye-bye.